Isn't it ironic that somebody like me who thrives off of tiny projects and short bursts of feelings of accomplishment is so addicted to gigantic projects? I'm not quite sure what the cause of this is, but I do have 3 giant projects going on simultaneously right now, so I thought I would walk you through what they are. Currently, I'm working on a giant diamond painting of Callie and Toast with a kind of pinkish sunset background. I'm working on the big blue blanket that I've been knitting for a while, and I'm also working on a cross-stitch project inspired by Game of Thrones. So I'll go a little bit in detail about each one, show you footage of where I'm at with all of them in terms of progress, and hopefully actually finish them one day. We'll see. I'm going to talk about the diamond painting first because I seem to have a trend of ordering gigantic diamond painting kits and taking over a year to finish them, so we'll start with that one. The first gigantic diamond painting I ever did was this cherry blossom tree one. I worked on it for ages, like on and off for about a year, I think, and we finally got it hung up above our bed, which was the intended purpose for it all along. I thought it'd be beautiful as a decor piece in our bedroom, and I think it looks fantastic up above our bed. I absolutely love it. This one was really tricky to do in terms of just how long it took, because as you can see, the colors are very they're detailed, they blend together, so it's a lot of sitting there and hunting around for what colors go where. And the little dots are circles, which is what I was used to for the longest time, but I've started to like squares more than circles, and I'll talk about that more in a minute. The second giant diamond painting project I've done is hanging up right there. It's the Isabelle one from Animal Crossing. I found this artwork on Pinterest. I have struggled to find the artist's name. If I find it, I'll link them in the description or put the name on screen if I can find it. But I found this artwork on Pinterest, absolutely fell in love with it, and wanted to have a diamond painting of it. So I think this one's from Paint Gem. I submitted the photo and ordered a custom piece. And by custom piece, I mean they sent me the sticky pad and all the dots. And I just started working on it sometime last year. It was a long process, and I worked on it on and off, of course. And to finish it off, I knew I could get the rest of it done in like one day. I had like a good chunk left, but doable in a day, I felt like. So I made a goal for myself to stream the ending. So I started my stream at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, like right at noon. I said, I'm not going to stop streaming until this diamond painting is done. That was an 11-hour stream, and it was intense, but it was so much fun getting to show people the process of finishing it and chatting with everybody. It was a really fun experience. The current diamond painting I'm working on is this design that I whipped up in Canva. It took me 2 seconds. I already had the pictures of Callie and Toast. They're emotes that I use on Twitch, so I just used the original versions of the pictures, made them really big, popped them on this background that I like, and there we go. I wanted to make this one the biggest one I've ever done, and I've been working on it a little bit on TikTok, actually, making short little ASMR style TikToks of just getting really good close-ups and listening to the sounds, because the sounds of working on a diamond painting are so satisfying. Here, I'll put one in now. I just adore those sounds. They're just so nice. But this is another one I'll probably be updating you all on here as well if I make big heaps and bounds of progress. And of course, when it's finished, I'll do a big video talking about the whole thing and showing it hung up and everything, because it's gotta be hung up in this house somewhere, for sure, when it's done. Oh yeah, and I wanted to talk about the difference between the circle dots and the square dots. All the diamond paintings I had from the beginning were circles, and I thought that's all you had. And they're fine, they work fine, but I've since worked on the Isabelle one. That one came with square dots, and I wasn't sure if I'd like it or not, because I was like, oh, but I'm gonna have to sit there and line up the edges on the sticky sheet, and that might be a bit of a hassle. It's not. It's super easy to do. It's not as big of a hassle as it seems at first. And I like the squares because they fill in the space completely on the sticky sheet. The circles, if we zoom in really close on one, they obviously leave corners empty. Yes, Anna, that's literally basic geometry. Giant project that I've definitely worked on the longest out of these main 3 that I've been working on right now is the big blue blanket. I've talked about it before, I talked about it in my last video. It's just this giant blue blanket that I'm knitting. It's just a basic stockinette stitch, super warm, super cozy, and super time consuming. I'm knitting this on size 6 needles. I don't think I mentioned that in the last video, but they're size 6, so they're super small. Or are they 7? I don't know. I'll put it on screen when I know. The blanket itself is huge. It's gonna be huge. When I first decided I was going to make it, I bought 16 skeins of the same yarn and wound them all together into a gigantic ball of yarn. Like, it was bigger than my head. It was like this big. And can you imagine winding a ball of yarn that big? It was so hard, but I did it. And I've just been knitting off of that, and I will keep knitting this blanket until I run out of yarn. That's the plan. So it's gonna be a huge blanket. I'm gonna try to get a shot of it spread out over my bed, which is where I'm wanting to have it. Where I'm wanting to have it when it's done. So you can kind of see how big it is right now and where I'm planning to take it in the future. The newest giant project is the giant cross stitch inspired by Game of Thrones / A Song of Ice and Fire. I read the books before I saw the show because I knew I wanted to watch the show, but for context, I wanted to read the books first. Breeze through the books because I love them that much. I couldn't put them down. And if you know anything about Game of Thrones, you know that each of the big, powerful families have a banner with their name on it, a sigil of some kind, and usually some kind of family motto or phrase. So I really wanted to make one for me and Brady, as we are a family. I wanted to make one that said House Snedden at the top, have some kind of sigil in the middle, and then 3 words that described us as a family. And this is the design I came up with. So to explain a little bit, Brady absolutely loves turtles, and I do too. They're like our favorite animal. And Brady has always been kind of described as a turtle. He's not the kind of person that is like running around like crazy, like super active and busy. He's calm, he's thoughtful, logical, and kind. And that's a turtle. The mountain out of the turtle's back comes from our name, Snedden. It means snowy hill, so I wanted to include the mountains in the design, so I had the turtle carrying the mountains on its back. And then the words. The words I felt like really described us as a family because I wanted them to be alliterative, for one, because I thought that would sound really nice. And I literally went online and Googled adjectives that start with S, and then just went down the line, kind of writing down ones that I thought applied to us, and then narrowing it down to 3. And I like the 3 we came up with. Steadfast, serene, and studious. I know that might make us sound a little boring, but those were the words that I felt like described us the best. So the cross stitch itself, I got just a whole roll of cross stitch fabric, just unrolled it, flattened it, let it lay flat on my table, weighed down with books to flatten it a little bit. I taped the edges so they wouldn't fray apart as easily. I taped the edges so they wouldn't fray apart while I was working with the fabric, and then kind of counted out the little squares and marked them so I could figure out where I was starting on the fabric itself. My pattern, I literally uploaded my design to a cross-stitch pattern generator, and I was like, cool, this is all ready to go. I'll print it out and we'll be good to go. I forgot to change the background color of the design before I tried to print it. So it looks like this. It looks like hot garbage, but I can still read it. I just felt really, really bad because I did this right after we replaced the black ink cartridge in our printer. And if you know anything about printer ink, it's really expensive. So I felt really bad about that. But I started working on the outline of the turtle because I wanted to just get the outlines done, because then after that it's just solid color. I can just fill them in. But I got really annoyed with having to look back and forth at my fabric and count and look at my pattern and count. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some colored pencils and use them to mark out the outlines, reference my pattern, and do the counting and marking that way. So then when I get to the actual cross stitch part, I can just follow my outlines and fill them in row by row without having to sit there and count. I can just follow the pattern that I've drawn on my fabric. which I think will go a little bit faster and make it a little bit more fun. Overall, I feel like I love giant projects because at the end, you get this giant sense of accomplishment. You feel like you've really done something big, something incredible, and for me, personally, it helps when I get to display it in my home. I have a bunch of craft projects scattered around this house. I'll include some footage of a bunch of them that I've made. Most of them have been made for Brady because we've been together for like 10 years now, so that's 10 years worth of birthday and Christmas presents and anniversary presents. So I make a lot of stuff and I love getting to display it and show off, hey, look at all the work I put into this, and it reminds me of how much fun I had while working on it. That's the biggest thing. And with giant projects, it's a continual view of progress, especially with the 3 that I just talked about, cross-stitching, diamond painting, and knitting. I can consistently see that I'm moving towards the end goal, which is really, really neat. If you'd like to see more kind of daily or small bits of progress on all of these projects, feel free to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, subscribe here on YouTube. I also might do some live streams of working on these projects on Twitch. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And this is new. It's a little preemptive, I know that. But I have a Patreon if you're interested. And certain tiers have access to exclusive content like vlogs and behind the scenes videos. And a lot of those will definitely be progress videos of these giant projects that I just talked about. That's completely up to you. You're not obligated. You live your life how you want. You do what you want. So I'm gonna end this here. Thank you for watching, and remember, you are beautiful inside and out. Don't let anybody, especially yourself, tell you any different. Bye!